What's up, folks? Nigeria and Lucas, we're back this week. It is episode 2 of Power Book 2 Ghosts Exceeding Expectations. This was a great episode. We got a lot to talk about. But first, how are you doing tonight, Lucas? It's late at night. We're getting on it early as always.
Man, listen, it's a task at times to be almost 40 and staying up to watch Power, but as long as the episodes or continue to be as good as this one was,
Yeah,
it gets to be a breeze.
yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. No matter the age, anything at 12 is if it's not sleep, it's kind of criminal. But look, I'm gonna jump off here and by saying exceeding expectations. Now, usually, from people that's been following our reviews for about since Power, we kind of always talk about what does the title mean to us, and I'm going to go just a little bit different here. And when I heard the title "Exceeding Expectations," of course, I'm trying to figure out how does that correlate to the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, this one goes to Michael Rainey Jr. for me because without a doubt, when you hear the theme song, the first name you see is his,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not getting that, that's telling you that he is the lead of this series,
Mm-hmm.
and we watched this little boy grow up for 6 seasons. No matter if you loved him or hate him, for 6 seasons, this was his show. As much as it was Omari Hardwick's show, this was his show, and you've seen that the mantle has been handed over to him. He is now the lead, and you see that Stars and Courtney Kemp trust him in being that lead. And when it comes down to the 2 episodes thus far, he has exceeded my expectations for this role. I never had a doubt that this dude can act, but I mean, when you're handed over a show and a franchise, shall we say, that has a strong fan base and a lot of momentum, shall I say, and
Yes.
Stars has a lot of momentum in its own, and
Mm-hmm.
you hand it over to him, it's a level of trust, and I think for me as a viewer and a consumer of him and this show, like he has exceeded my expectations in being the lead role. Phenomenal job by him 2 episodes in thus far.
Wow. So we're going that angle with exceeding expectations. So mine, I think, is even bigger than Nigeria's of the person who exceeds expectations for me so far in 2 episodes of this show. So, this character managed to say another word this week. It was just mom, but like it's exceeded all my expectations on the amount of words she was gonna have on Power Book 2 because she didn't have any words really on Power. So they are prominently showing her as the other kid. This is amazing to me. Like this has exceeded all my expectations on what this could have been by her coming out to now be highlighted. Finally, they had 2 children again. Like it succeeded all my expectations of everything for this show. Like that's all I needed is when Tasha got out the van and heard to say "mommy," and I said, "Wow, look at God, look at God, finally giving his baby words to say." Like that exceeded my expectations so far in this show that they've given her so many words to say. Because again, and I say that jokingly, but I also say that because I'm not everybody who's killing it so far. I expected them to. Like I am not shocked by anybody so far. I, along with the baby finally speaking, I can say I'm shocked with possibly the writing.
Yeah.
I didn't. The writing for this after 2 episodes is surprisingly good because as much as we love Power and as much as we can discuss a lot of things about Power, that season 6 at times it felt like they made lazy decisions with Law throughout Power.
Yeah.
and here they're giving it so much more effort of like, nah, let's pinpoint some things. Maybe because you finally have a lead character that's a lawyer. Like Angela was supposed to be, but come on, we know she
Yeah.
did. We didn't care whatever she did. So
Yeah.
with Meth, you have someone who is a lead actor, and you want to see him, and want to see like him make good point, especially against Sacks, who still looks as crooked as humanly possible. So just to see his interactions with them, and again, the writing is above average, very
Yeah.
above average, and I don't mean that in any type of bad way. When I say above average, it's because normally when you spin off a show to something else, you get really average writing,
Yeah, oh
and they've
yeah.
managed not to do that so far.
Yeah, because they go with the notoriety. They like, look, we got the fan base because of everything that the first show built, everything that
Mm-hmm.
got us the opportunity to get this. Yeah, like very seldomly. I mean, Better Call Saul is a rare case of it
Yes.
actually excelling. But that's why I know what that show is because there's not other shows that can say off of the
Mm-hmm.
main show that was so good that it did better. So I know people in the comments are going to throw examples. So, like, yes, definitely let us know another show that you felt like that the spinoff did better.
And
Or, you know, matter of fact,
it better not be Fear the Walking Dead.
I was just about to say that. I will, and the only reason why that's better because the source they didn't have to come from source material, so they was able to take more chances. So
Yes.
that's an arguable one too. But yeah, like anything else that you all are thinking about, definitely shoot it to us. Now you talk about people in this show, who you expected to do good. I am very thoroughly happy to see my girl, Sherry Psalm, who has been in so many different things. Agents of Shield, Roswell, The Fosters, Good
Mm-hmm.
Trouble, who's playing Paula Matsirazo, Matt Terrazzo. That's how you say it, Matt Terrazzo,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
who's obviously next to Dave McClain here. I think she's a phenomenal actress, and I had no clue that she was casted for this. So seeing that face, who's going to play obviously a really permanent and prevalent role in this show, is definitely going to be interesting. I think that's the other thing I really loved about this Power Book 2 is that we've been so used to the core cast for 6 seasons, and
Yeah.
anytime somebody new came on, they were typically a villain
Yes.
because the core good guys stay together. So it's good to see more good villains. I mean, I'm sorry, more people on both sides, villains and or should we say heels and faces? So we say
There
wrestlers
you
terms.
go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's good to see the diversity of new cast coming in that way, and I think this is a strong asset here. Now, in everything I've ever seen her done, she's always been a good guy, and I love the already challenging aspect and the sort of dynamic duo with her and Dave McClain character here. So Paula and Dave, I am going to hold reserve off a little bit because it seems like a straight shooter, but we know this is power. And we know at some point there's going to be a wrench in this. So right now, while they're being really cohesive, working together as a function to take down Sacks, we know there's going to have to at some point take a turn here. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that unfolds. That's going to be interesting. But anyway, let's get into the show.
Yes.
Um, so starting off, we go back to Tasha, and the whole ratting out Tommy Egan, and it was kind of like eyebrow raised when they said Tommy had only ever been charged with small crimes. Now, am I just? I mean, yes, I can actually sit down here and put this on the table and think this out, but did that kind of catch you off guard too? Like, wait, they really never had nothing on Tommy all this time?
Well, remember they kept on trying to find things on Tommy. Like
Yeah,
they kept on trying to find things on Tommy. And remember, when they really started focusing on the organization, it was always on James. It was never on Tommy. So they never had anything concrete on Tommy. But that's not really surprising because they never had anything concrete on Ghost.
yeah,
The way they isolated themselves from their organizations is the
yeah,
reason why. Like you're not good. Normally when you get to the top tier of an organization, you're not
yeah,
going to get anything on those guys. You get it on everybody below them.
yeah. Very true. Very true. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Tommy a little bit more, but I thought I was very interested. I was like, wow, he was really clean slate. So he did not leave New York
Eh,
because it was hot. He left because it was nothing else for him. The
And remember,
business was shut down, and there's
mhm.
opportunities in Cali. So
And you see how they say he conveniently left. So that's going to set up. You know what? I love that they are currently setting up, which I think Tommy Show has now been moved to the next one to come out. I think so. I think they
no,
moved it.
it's oh yeah. Okay, so I thought it was still the third show, but it's Power Book 4 because ain't
Yes.
Kanan next?
is it Raising Cane? Yeah, Raising Cane is
Yeah,
3.
yeah.
But I
So
think they said Tommy's was the next book that was going to come out, if I'm not mistaken. Because I know they moved up Tommy's book.
yeah,
And
it's confusing because I think he was before takes, but either way, like they made a whole announcement that they like got the green light for, as if they didn't discuss that season 6. That's why I was kind of confused about this news about them having that. Like, yeah, we already knew
yeah,
that.
I thought it was
So
just about them moving up his book. And
yeah,
this, in all honesty, I hope they do, because this show is really going to play a lot off of. They basically cleared Tommy by charging Tasha. So it's
yeah,
like she named him and then they cleared them. Like it's
yeah,
just going to be interesting to see, along with a lot of other things, especially in this episode, that we really got to get into about
yeah.
how this kingpin charge is working, and things about Mary J and that character that I am freaking loving right now, Joe.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm questioning, because
yeah,
she brings up some very interesting questions in this episode about how powerful is she.
yeah. It's very true. So yeah, I mean, I was gonna wait, but I'll just bring it up now. Tommy not coming to the funeral is very
Hmm.
oddly suspicious to me,
Hmm.
and I am hoping that becomes a factor at some point.
Angela
Uh,
not. I mean, not Angela. Jesus, I said Angela not coming. Duh. Why would she come?
Rest in peace.
Yes. Pause. That's who I was thinking of. Not coming is also surprising, just because she
Mm,
wanted James dead so bad. So why would, matter of fact, no one showed up when Tariq said, "I don't know any of these people." So they go through the whole thing, and no one shows up besides my man, his uncle, who we saw in episode 6, as it pertains to the Queen's
Uncle
Child's
Gabe,
project. Like
Uncle
that's
Gabe,
the,
yeah,
yeah, like that's the only one that shows up.
yeah. Uncle Gabe giving some real advice too. I appreciate that. I appreciate the
Hmm.
legitimacy of that uncle. I mean, being a black male, you being a black male, we all have that uncle that chimes in out of nowhere and just got that timeless advice, And
Hey, I'm that uncle.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And for him to be such a small character, like it makes so much sense for that to have been that way because
Hmm.
we've been in those scenarios where that's really authentic. But it also really folded Tariq's eulogy. But we'll definitely come back to that because the eulogy has a lot of ramifications on things for me in this episode.
Hmm.
But just to kind of roll
Yes.
back up to the beginning of the episode, so Professor Reynolds, who is
Look,
the professor of the what's the class? The
I will never remember the name of that very complicated class.
canonical studies. Thank you. There you go.
Canonical studies. Okay.
Yeah. Now we knew he's been a little suspicious here. Now I don't quite got an angle yet. Now we do know that him and Carrie, the other professor, have a very sexual relationship. I mean,
Complicated.
I wouldn't say
Complicated.
I wouldn't say complicated because it by her and her therapist talking, it seems like she's just sexually attracted to this guy.
No, no, no.
And
Remember, he wrote a book about her.
yeah, but
So
like, okay, well,
that complicates things.
true, and business and pleasure is never a good thing, you know.
Never.
So, but I'm still trying to figure out why is he so against Tariq. Now, there's two things that's bothering me here. One that becomes a little personal, and one that I am probably thinking for the sake of the show. Now, Tariq is how what we've been saying, and we talked about last season, and you brought it up last episode.
Hmm.
Tariq is a product of his mom and his dad. That's
Yes.
just how it is. Real life story, whatever it may be. That's just how it should be. And we're seeing Tasha, who's traditionally been one of the smartest characters on Power, completely wiped away of that right now, ever since
Yes.
season 6. And
Hmm.
we're seeing Tariq being this brilliant African American boy, and there's haters, and I feel that Professor Reynolds is a guy who's cloaking himself as like a one of those like allies, shall I say, in
Hmm.
the empowerment of blacks in the community. but he
But
realizes that Tariq is almost somebody that's challenging him
I
to the
about to
point where
say,
he's not acceptable of it. And I've been
mhm.
there in a position where it's like a black guy looks at another black guy, it's like it's only could be one smart black person in the building.
Hey,
And it
I,
makes no sense to me.
it's a hard situation to be in, but I agree with you because I've been in that same exact situation, and I've been the younger black guy who comes in, and it's like
The
it's like a
gatekeeping, bro.
challenge. It's a challenge to the older black guy
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
sees it, and that's the key part. And I think that's the thing with Professor Reynolds is that he sees it. He
Yep.
sees how brilliant Tariq
Yep.
may be, and he's doing everything in the world to fight that.
Yeah.
And it's a power struggle, I think, between him and Curry. That's the other professor
Yep. Yep.
because she sees something in Tariq. Hers comes across at times as sexual, and I don't know why.
Oh, I won't gonna say it yet, but man, so
It comes across
yeah,
as sexual. And
yeah,
when it comes across as sexual, it threatens Reynolds even more.
yeah. Well, it will because I don't think it got to that point, but that's definitely
I,
what I noticed.
I think
Is
he notices the attention that she gives Tariq,
yeah, but
and
we
that's
haven't
what's throwing him
seen
off.
right, and we haven't blatantly seen the effects of it, but I know it's coming next episode without a doubt. And so like it bothers me because he's coming off as a typical dude here. The gatekeeping aspects, and instead of the empowerment, he's looking at this as a way of like I said, it's challenging towards him. He's not acceptable of it, and it's just forming into hate and oppression and all forms of things comes out of this because he's not going to let Tariq accede in his class as he already put him out there. I'm sorry, it wasn't the girl that was next to him fault as she apologized. The
It was,
teacher
yeah.
completely targeted him. And again, being in these situations, I know when someone tries to go after you and they try to exploit something for personal gain. That had nothing to do with anything in that class, nothing to do about the studies. That was a personal, direct attack on Tariq. And I am going to love every bit of Tariq resilience in this scenario. If this is the storyline that Tariq is saying that people are going to end up siding with him with on this season, then consider me already signed up because like this comes off way too personal for me. Like, because I see it. I've been in it and I see it. And it makes no sense. The crab in the barrel mentality
Yes, it is.
is literally the problem in our community. Everybody wants to get to the plateau and have all the rewards, but never want to hand back to helping the others. They're like,
Oh
I
no.
made it and forget everybody else, you know?
Yeah,
It's sad.
that
It's sad, dude.
that whole mentality. I can't forget. I can't remember who said it, but it was like back in slave days where one slave would find out what's going on that's horrible, and he would run to tell other slaves like, "Hey, stay away from there. Like it's oppression
Mm-hmm.
this way." And then it always be that crab in the barrel. Don't pay him no attention. He don't know what he's
Mm-hmm.
talking about. And
Mm-hmm.
this is the what Reynolds is giving off with Tariq. And I think it is a great thing if they're using him to make Tariq more likable to the people who hated a kid in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm still fully not understanding why they hated them. And he was just playing the kid.
Yep.
And here it's a kid having to deal with a conflict that he's probably never had to face before. He
Yep.
went to all white schools. There
Yep.
probably wasn't another black voice to
Nope.
challenge him there.
Nope.
Now we could play it at a different angle of is he doing it because he wants to pull Tariq down, or is he doing it because he sees something in him that needs to be pushed that way?
Yeah, I still don't like the tactic though. I really don't. I mean, he's not in a position for tough love. And yes, don't be fooled, folks. I'm going off the limb and say, do not be fooled by his whole political stance about being a black kid in America.
No.
Because that's the angle he's trying to play.
Mm-mm.
But look exactly what he's doing. Look exactly what he's doing. He's directly targeting a counterpart. It's
I told you it may have something to do with the way Tariq got into the program. He sees Tariq as a threat.
yeah.
And that's even more telling if he sees Tariq as a threat. Because why would you see a student as a threat?
Exactly. Tariq's been killing it with the clothing gear, by the way. I'm just gonna
Oh,
throw
we
that.
also
And
didn't get into Carrie and Professor Reynolds, who clearly put in their power contract, we need to have our
oh,
sex scene.
wait. I literally was coming right there. I just had to just throw out Tariq's clothing gear is on point. Tariq didn't run this episode, so Tariq is showing all forms of versatility. But before you talk about that, I literally had to know how long until we get the Mary J sex scene.
Look, I don't think you're gonna get one. I think you just saw in
Is
this
she
episode all you gonna get is that sheet over her getting out of bed.
is
Murray
she
ain't giving you no full sex scene, Jeff.
is she above that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 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 Now, if we get something where she meets a new boyfriend and he's a high profile person too, maybe, but I can't see Murray just giving Power a
Mm.
sex scene.
I'm trying to tell you, as soon as it happens, that whoever was privileged enough to get that interview, that's gonna be the first question they
It
ask.
took Lala. It took Lala 4.5 years for a Power sex scene. So when you get to certain names, it's harder to get that sex scene out of them.
Yeah. Now we'll talk about that sex scene in a minute. Because sticking on Mary Jane's for a minute, so we know that Mary Jane's husband Lorenzo,
Mm-hmm.
is the ultimate trump card here because she said that no one talking to the cop that she's doing whatever with, no one can give her protection like Lorenzo can.
His
This,
name. She said his name can. You know how powerful his name has to be
yeah,
for that to be the
exactly,
case?
yeah, exactly. We got a long season to go. We're gonna see how strong this name really is because again we're talking about territories here or barrels,
Mm-hmm.
should we say? We want to see how big this name runs because like Ghost was a big name, but Ghost wasn't a Lobos big name, and Lobos it like when it came down to the different areas, the different bureaus of New York, Lobos was a strong name, and I can't think of the other guy name, but Jason was
But if
another strong
but if
name.
we think about it, Ghost Ghost was a feared name. So
Mhm.
you could never put a person to the name. They know Ghost, but they
Got
didn't
you.
know who Ghost was.
Yeah, but
So I think we're going to find out more, especially from what Murray did in this episode, when she's
yeah,
constantly asking someone to find more information out about Tariq.
yeah,
And
yeah,
all you got to do is look it up. You find Tasha's case. You find out she's on a queen pin charge. Next question is going to be, who was James St. Patrick? Someone's going to say Ghost. I'm waiting for someone to tell her the name Ghost and what her reaction is going to be to it.
good point.
Because
Absolutely.
that reaction is going to say a lot.
Yeah,
Or
good
Tariq
point.
coming out and saying his father was named Ghost
And
and Murray's
notice,
reaction.
he's trying to stray away from saying it too.
Yes.
So at
Mm-hmm.
one point he will say it, and it will be a reaction from him saying it himself, and it will
Mm-hmm.
be a reaction from him saying it.
Oh, shit. I just thought about something. Huh. They really set his name up to be the biggest thing by Power Book 2 Ghost. So once we get to the name of him saying Ghost, I think it's going to carry weight that we're not expecting it to carry.
Ah,
I
okay,
think that name is going to carry weight we're not expecting it to carry.
okay.
Like it again, as we get deeper into the episode, is a lot of confrontations that happens with Tariq that would any street person, but the way Tariq was talking would make me ask questions.
Yeah, I can. That's gonna be my. I'm almost at that point. That's gonna be my biggest thing for my reactions for the night. I just want to talk about Stern really quick. So Stern
Mm.
felt it was a good idea to speak positively at the eulogy. McLean wants and thought Tariq should speak negatively here.
Mhm.
Stern, once again, when it comes down to financials and business, he's on top of his game. I did not perceive it the way Stern did until he said it. I also have always loved how Stern was that financial advisor in all of the previous seasons of
Mhm.
Power. Stern for me now is starting to become not only just a regular, but he's becoming a character now instead of it just being a cameo, shall I say. I love how Stern is obviously still racist, but I love the fact of like he is dictating things now. His his finances, because there's not a financial person in the show now because Ghost is gone.
Yes.
I love how his money becomes uh a dictator in what happens in the show. As it like, where'd you get the money from? I thought Stern was doing this and stuff like that. I think his character secretly is going to be really, really interesting coming this season. And I loved how that just that small tidbit of saying like you speaking good is always good for us when it comes to business. Since we are business partners now.
Yeah.
I
It was most people forgot that even though James died, him and Stern's business went and runs through James' estate now. So it's never a good thing for his business partner to look bad
yeah.
because he's still in business with him. And he said the
Yeah.
key word: if he looks bad, it's really not going to hurt me, but it'll hurt the estate, which would lower a property or whatever business him and James had tied up together.
Yeah.
And that's what leads to Tariq to having to make a tough decision, because you got on the other end, you got David trying to get him to throw his father under the bus,
Mhm.
thinking it will work out best for his mother if he basically goes up there and says his name was Ghost and he killed everybody. Like, that's really what he wanted Tariq to say. But
Yeah.
again, Stern was the voice of reason
Yeah.
for Tariq.
Yeah.
Like, to pinpoint him, like, dude, you're doing all of this, getting out of school so you can take care of your family. If you badmouth him, there is no taking care of your family.
Yeah. This is true. So I feel like I'm the only person who's never read Great Expectations, and apparently it must be a good book because every single time somebody was
It is
asked about it,
it is
somebody.
one of the most boring books humanly possible. Listen,
Every, I was,
it,
I
it
mean, I was gonna say I'm convinced that it must be good because everybody had a different interpretation of it.
hey, here's the weird part. Here's the weird part. From the years upon years ago that I read Great Expectations, Tariq's perception of it at the beginning before he was destroyed by the professor is correct. That's what Great Expectations is.
Mm,
That's why it can be adapted to, so we it's a launching point for so many mod movies
mm-hmm,
because of the storyline of everybody being bad and things of that nature. It births certain genres of film. So it's
mm.
great for that as an actual piece of literature. For when I was in college or when I was in high school, when I read it, I didn't enjoy it either time.
Mm. Yeah, probably won't be checking that out.
No, not now. Mm-mm.
I get my knowledge through the show. So yes, coming back to Professor Carrie Milgram, uh, here's something I don't know if you were going to pick up on that could be problematic, but maybe this isn't is I mean, it's definitely something, but maybe this isn't as a big find as I think it is. But also what I think is bad for business here is well, Zeke wants him some Carrie.
Yes. Oh no, that was something I picked up on immediately. That he wants to fuck
Carrie
her,
Carrie wants some Tariq.
and that's nasty. I don't know how they gonna play this out.
Jealousy is definitely going to be an issue in this little love square that's happening right now.
Hey, but if we pay attention, to me, that's not the only love square going on. It's another one. And I don't know if you picked up on the other one. It's clearly another one with Tariq.
Another love one with Tariq.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, besides him and the three girls that we talked about last episode.
Not that one, buddy. Let's just say we'll talk about it more when we get
Okay.
to him invited to dinner. Because
Okay.
that revealed something that revealed a lot to me at one time. And I said,
Okay.
oh, that's
Yeah.
that. That's what they may play off of. And I'm not saying I'm right about it. It's just a perception that I'm getting.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, the Jabari Reynolds, obviously Professor Jabari Reynolds,
Mm-hmm.
Zeke, and Carrie and Tariq. That's definitely going to be interesting. we'll just see where it goes. But yeah,
Including Carrie understand knowing that Zeke didn't write that paper. She knew damn well he didn't write that paper.
oh yeah, for sure. And on top of that too, all that like arguing between Jabari and Carrie, all that just for the sex scene, like
Hey, we got
all
it's
that
power.
fucking
It's
yeah,
power. We got
all
to get the
that
sex
fucking
thing.
yeah. Now let's talk about the dinner now. So obviously Tariq wanted a good meal because I know how that is because them college meals be trash. So I felt you. No matter what school you go to, them college meals be trash. So I definitely felt that. But here's where I am getting mixed signals here. The
Mm-hmm.
table, the table said a lot.
Yes, it
Wow.
did. It showed me something that yeah.
I I'll say the first thing is I love the continuity among I love the family dynamic with this.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Everybody's grateful for being at the table. So let's not say we're going to a spade because I know people want to make it more than what it is. There's no trouble in paradise with this family. They are all on the same page.
One page.
As Monet is heading it, as she is at the head of the table, and she calls out the order and it's respected. There's no defiance. Everybody has their role. Tariq coming in wasn't a challenge. However, Kane and Drew, there was a bit of I gotta think of a word here. I would say there's a bit of maybe optimism here with his intelligence here. Because they
Is
looked
that
over.
is that what you saw? We saw something completely different there.
Well, I feel like they went on like like when a dog or a pet when you say the word treat and how they like get like intense.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like when they heard him speak, they both like eyes and ears went up like, okay, that's I don't know if that's one of those like they didn't expect or
See,
whatever it was, but there was a tension to him from everybody of the two boys outside of Zeke because Zeke knows. I
yeah.
think he knows because Zeke seems to be a little bit out there right now. But the other two, they looked over like, all right,
See,
this Tariq kid, all right,
see, to
let's
me,
see.
for Kane, I saw someone who when he's speaking, he's like, okay. He was gauging, I thought he was gauging Tariq of can we trust this kid? Because, a book smart kid in that environment don't necessarily be a good thing.
Yeah.
Drew, um, I sensed something completely different that I've sensed from the beginning. And I don't know if they're ever going to confirm what I'm seeing. Because especially when Tariq said something about art class and Drew said, oh, you in art, you thinking art? Like, I believe Drew may like Tariq. And that's that look he was giving him. And that's the conflict I see between him and his sister and Tariq.
Whoa. I didn't beat that. I didn't beat that at all.
It was all based off of, at times, it's simple interaction. And it was just that, oh, so you like art? Like, what class do you take? And I'm like, that's odd. And then at the end of the night, when Monet ended everything and told her to clear the table, and she said, Kane, take Tariq. And Drew said, no, I can take him. I'm like, that's weird.
Do you think on another note, do you think Drew just might be envious that he didn't go to college or cannot go to college? Do you think the business and the family prohibits him in being in that environment? And Zeke,
I wonder, does it though?
I don't know. I'm just a wild shot. It could be that, but I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on that because like I didn't get that read. I just know that I felt like they puckered up like, oh okay, this guy.
I got that from the first episode. When he dapped Drew up at the beginning of the episode, and remember I kept on saying, why did he give Tariq that look when he saw him? Because that was his first time meeting Tariq.
Yeah.
And for power, and I'm basing this off of power and the way they like throwing curveballs at people. That would be a great, and we talked about it. about having this opportunity to introduce different type of characters into power. That would be a great type of character to introduce.
Mm. I gotta say too, like Mary J, as obviously as Monet, presence on screen is always fire.
Yes.
She's without a doubt just a tremendous actress in a way of not saying like she's one of the best actresses out there. She just knows how to command the screen. I mean, she's a superstar nonetheless. And
As
I don't think that being a good actress, you know, is only by definition of how good you're doing roles. I literally it could just be as simple as saying when you on the screen, you're must watch.
mm-hmm.
And I think she absolutely, without a doubt, no matter what the show is, Umbrella Academy or this, like she just knows how to command the screen. And I believe her when she's on screen in this role as being the leader of the family and the organizer and whatever you want to call it. I believe what she's selling. Every single thing. I'm like, okay, this she's
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Now, I gotta just kind of like I gotta kind of throw this out there. Now, I know a lot of people has been, especially on all the like social medias and all that other good stuff. I know everybody's talking about the time when Monet and Tasha meets, and however that works and whenever that will be. I'm a little worried for Natari here because Mary J is commanding a presence that I felt like Natari never has.
Mm-mm.
When Natari now the character of Tasha
It's big,
does,
but
yeah,
yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. One from now on, whenever I talk about Mary J in this role, I'm going to say Academy Award nominated actress Mary J. Blige. See, we leave that out because she's a superstar, but
mm-hmm.
this is someone who 2 years ago won lots of acting awards for performance.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
knows what she's doing,
yeah,
people.
yeah,
And again, as you said, her presence is so powerful. That's what's going to hurt because it's going to be hard for certain people to be on screen with her.
yeah.
Yeah, and it
That's
has
it.
nothing to do with your acting ability. I've seen it many times in movies and other television shows where you may have two people who are qualified as great actors, but one just has a presence that's so overpowering, it makes the other person look small.
Yeah,
So I understand the fear of when if they get on screen and the same scene together, what would happen? It's literally the reason why, and this is a weird thing to bring up. It's really the reason why Michael Mann waited to the end of Heat to put Robert De Niro and Al Pacino in a scene together because
yeah,
he didn't know if this is going to work, because if it doesn't work, one could really overpower the other one and then it not be good for that person for the rest of their career.
yeah. That's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah, I definitely got a few more examples here, but I'll save
Yeah.
them for
Mm-hmm.
off the show. Uh, so talking about Kane and Tariq. Now, first of all, that scene together when they get out the car.
One more thing. Before we get into that one, and it was in my head, went out of my head because I started talking about the other stuff at the dinner table. It is a book. And I'm going to credit the person who's credited as a writer, even though she may not be the writer of the book, and that's Miss Terry Woods. It's a book called The Deadly Rains. And right now, what I am seeing from the children on this show is almost a perfect depiction of that book, of someone who's in a business, raised their kids in a business, and their kids become these monstrous killers who can run everything. So,
Mm,
anyone who's read that book and you're watching this show, I just wanted to give, yes, the same thing you're noticing, I'm noticing from that book. And I don't know if it's based off of the book, but damn if it's not the same setup of
mm,
the two brothers and the sister and how they mold in, especially when you see Mary J asking the questions she's asking to her kids about figuring out things in the business. All of that came to my mind. But go ahead, what you say about Kane and Tariq.
I'm just gonna be able to. I'm just gonna say this: the Kane and Tariq scene was absolute lit, and Tariq, the character, has grown up tremendously. The last time we seen Tariq under a bridge was with Tommy,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't know what he was doing, and Tommy wrung his ass out. To see him stand up the way he did and be that practical and logical in it, we're seeing the evolution of Tariq. Forget all the comparisons to Ghost and everything. We're just seeing the residuals of everything he's been through and what is it sort of manifested into. I am going to say that this Tariq and Kane alliance is going to be the
Mhm.
story of this season. I am beyond invested to seeing how does that work out. Them two, I cannot wait to see what happens when them two have to do something, organize, strategize, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
This whole time, people wanted Tariq to be Ghost, and they equated his white friend to being Tommy. That was never the case. If
Exactly.
him and Kane got together, Kane would be his Tommy. Because Kane
Mm.
is sick killer. That's
A
all he
clean.
is.
Yes, he is.
And
He just.
Tariq, you can already tell because I saw that at the dinner table when Tariq was talking. He saw the intelligence there, and when they had that secondary conversation, it clicks to him even more. Like, wow, like this dude's figured this out already. So I think we understand now out the kids that Kane is the muscle. Kane is
Yeah.
the Tommy out of those kids. If you got with somebody like Tariq, and we'll get later on to the eulogy of what the angle of Tariq really is with this show, because that's what the eulogy was about. Like that could be a deadly combination with them two.
Yeah, I can't stress enough that all of the family is intrigued by Tariq's intelligence. They know how valuable it is to the family side, the business side, and just the development of Zeke. Which is part family still, part of the family aspect, but it's very valuable, and they're all intrigued. So I think again, maybe they're just like, hey, we've never had this personality within our home, because they obviously seem to don't have anybody of that sort coming in. And not only is he book smart, but wait a minute, he might be street smart. And
Mm-hmm.
sure, Monet can use Google and figure out what's up with this man because his public records is everywhere. And I don't think she's asking it in a way that we understand, but she's not just asking who is this kid. I need to know his name and his background. I think she's genuinely asking in the sense of how does this kid operate? What is making him the embodiment of book and street smart in a way that fits us? And I think that's why she's sort of asking the cops because, you know, that's typically what cops do. They
What's the street
feel,
connection? That's what
yeah,
she wants. What is his street connection? Because
she
again, you said it right. If she just wanted to know who Tariq was, that takes
Google,
nothing. Yeah,
yeah,
I can find out who he is.
yeah,
But no. I need to know his street connection. Find
yeah.
out in the street for me who he is.
Yeah, yeah. Because they realize like they want to protect the family and the business, but they also realize more than that. Like this, he could be super valuable here, and I think that's where she's
Or
going
dangerous.
or
And
dangerous,
because they don't
absolutely,
know, you
or
need to find out.
infiltrating. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, how did he get here? So that's going to be interesting for sure. Now, talking about how valuable Tariq may be, and Tariq actually getting ready to set up a system in his own. We seen a display of white privilege in this episode
Jesus. Listen.
of the
Listen.
Weston guy, the older brother hitting the cop, being put in handcuffs, dropping his name, getting released, and the important thing to take from this is that they, at that rate, he hit a cop or whoever it is. That
Campus
should be
police. Campus
campus
police.
police,
That
whatever
was
it
campus
is.
police. Yeah.
That's automatic. Like that should have some type of bad effect. He obviously got released and the party went on. The reason why they came for the party and it was just completely like, oh, forget it. What's important to realize here is that with his best friend having
Yep.
that last name and that clout, they didn't pan the shot like that like I thought they were. I 100% thought we were gonna get the Tariq really like intrigued face like, oh, this is good, but they didn't
Mm.
give us that. But best believe that Tariq realizes that there is something to be made here. Can you imagine if they decide to run something? They got the connect in the college,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got the muscle of Kane. everybody's gonna win here at some point. I know this is the
Oh,
type
we
of
know
book.
that's gonna be pushed. We know that's
Yeah,
gonna be pushed.
I know.
We know that's gonna be brought up
We
as a
know. Yep.
possible angle to go
Yep.
after. Because
I
with
know.
that much white privilege, you gotta take advantage of that much white privilege. Look here, look here. Like eh, that was white power to the 10th degree. Because
Yeah.
all he did was drop the name, and the other cop was like, "Oh shit, what, like the auditorium and the pool too." No,
Yeah.
no, no. Let him go. He said, "What? Let him go."
Not even
Like, do
funny.
you know how much power you have to have for someone to say that? And I think he was legit saying when he said, "What are you doing? You can't come in my house." I think
Yeah.
his family owns that house. That's why he kept on saying, "My house." You're not
Mm-hmm.
coming in here without a warrant. Like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, like but that's kind of cool because the kid, we didn't see this from that kid in the first iteration of Power. We just knew he was a
No.
white kid with money. Now you
Yeah.
find out, no, he's not he's not a rich white kid. He's a white kid who comes from wealth, and that's a completely different person than it is just a rich white kid, which kind of makes you wonder why the hell does he want to sell drugs with Tariq?
Oh, because it's the balance of it's the balance of saying you can. It's the one thing he can't do without having somebody to do it with. Everything else is by given by finances, but you can't buy your way into the drug game here.
But
And
there's
maybe
literally
it's
no reason for it. It's
yeah,
no reason
yeah,
for it.
it definitely doesn't make sense. But maybe this is the thrill that he's seeking,
That's it there.
and
Yep.
the statue. It's always the thing of saying like I do this, and he's hot because clearly he has these conversations all out in public, and it don't matter. Just like before, when they were in choke, he just didn't
Yep.
care. He was wild
But
about it.
you see in this episode plenty of times his feelings for Tariq and how he feels he needs to protect his friend.
Yeah,
And that's what's also so dope of
I
them showing that with him.
I am 100% agree. I'm glad you pointed that out. Um, we had a Tate sighting, and
And we had a Tate being Tate.
yeah, being a pallbearer at one, interesting. Tate wanting to say something, never good. Number two, I am not. I know we're not going to get a lot from Tate, but we will get enough because we know he does have his own book,
Mm-hmm.
power book. So Tate, it was important to make sure Tate Bates is refreshed for viewers to understand like this is still a character because apparently people think everybody's dead. Like believe it or not, like I'm trying to tell you, the internet is wild and some of these
Hey,
theories I be seeing.
Ghost died. No one else died. No
No,
one else died.
no, Ghost is not dead allegedly from
Oh,
people.
wait, no.
So
Is he with Tupac? Is that what people? Is that the angle we going with now? They are
yeah,
expecting James just to magically pop back up. Look,
yeah, apparently
no,
it's a
nah.
whole theory with it. But yeah, Tate Titan, so we'll keep an eye on Tate. We've seen Yaz, as you said, Uncle Gabe. I'm already tired of Sacks. I just don't get this guy. But so but let's talk about the eulogy now, as we're going to be coming up on our time a little bit.
Mm.
So one thing is that the eulogy that Tariq delivered was obviously based on his perception of great expectations, his advice from Uncle Gabe, his also advice and the knowledge that Stern gave him, along with his
Mhm.
own personal reflections of his dad. So I thought that how the eulogy was written was very concise, and it came from to me it came from a very it had to be done that way if you ask me. This
Mhm.
was not just just another just line in the script here. I thought this probably took the most emphasis of this episode because it really did bring together everything that this episode represented. And I thought like the eulogy was beneficial for the story, but very powerful for Tariq, the character here. So I loved it. I thought it spoke well about everything. Like it almost seems so genuine to the point that like if we went to the funeral, that's exactly what should have been said. So I loved how the eulogy was done.
For me, the eulogy is power breaking the fourth wall because to me, As much as the eulogy was addressing to the people there, his father, it was literally addressing the audience on what your expectations of Tariq for this show, what your expectations of him as it pertains to his dad, and let you know that's not what you're going to get here. I think, especially towards the end of the eulogy, of saying, like, I was made to exceed him and experience things he didn't experience. Like, they're letting you know from that point what this show is. And they did it in a masterful way of doing it around a eulogy of the character from the main series that is the reason you're tuning into Power Book 2, and having the character that you thought was going to run one way and him informing you, the audience and the crowd, it's not going to go the way you thought it's going to go. I'm not that character. That's not who I'm supposed to be. I'm going
Yeah,
to be this character. And this is how everything is going to progress. I thought it was an amazing fourth wall setup.
yeah,
And you don't see that done too often, especially on dramatic shows where they feel the need to break a fourth wall. But to me, that's what it felt like. It felt like they were breaking a fourth wall and still staying in the confines of the story,
yeah.
which was necessary to have it happen that way.
Well said. Well said. I'm not going to talk about Tasha coming to the funeral, how she got her clothes, her hat, her wig. I'm not going to talk about
Hey,
none of
look
that. Her
here.
being in cuffs.
Power. We do that's
Yeah,
power. Power.
not worried about any of that.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to, and we're not there yet, but we obviously are going to get more about the lifestyle and the settings in jail, as we see that Monet. Okay, well, I'm skipping a part, but I'll just say that Monet did Tariq a solid by helping his mom get a favor in there. So she got the phone in there.
She went
Um,
another level. He asked for
yeah,
a plan B pill, and she gave
yeah.
him the pill and the phone.
Yep. So you see, Tasha is trying to help another person to gain some type of leverage here because we
Hey,
saw
that's
that person
all you
had
need.
power over the guard. I mean, Orange is the New Black. This is what's happening in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not going to talk about that because that's definitely going to be more of what's going to happen in future episodes for sure. So
Yes.
the lifestyle in jail with Tasha is something we'll definitely dive into a lot more. But I will say this really quick. Sacks. I don't like them, and I love the idea of them. You talked about how law is being done. I love how they brought up the jurisdictional grab tactic that Sacks did, and I don't understand how this dude has a job because everybody know he's morally
Dude,
conflicted.
they're gonna have to explain that eventually. They're
He's
gonna have to explain it.
he's literally incapable of going by the book, and he just does everything to make this case. His obsession with the St. Patrick's is mind blowing, and I'm pretty sure there's people like that in real life. I don't know. I don't work in that profession, but it is cringy how that character is so obsessed with that, and he's just getting bypass by bypass in order to do so, and him wanting to federalize his case in order for him to have control over it. Uh, John is giving him limited funding in order to do so.
And
It's
that,
get
yeah,
it's getting sick. But before I let you talk, you know where I'm going at with this. I argued you the entire season 6 about Detective Rodriguez being straight, and she did one slip up, and she got caught by it.
she did way more than one slip up. She lied a
One
couple
slip
times in
up,
season 6.
one
She
slip
lied
up.
a couple times in season 6.
But she is back. She is back, and she's coming for you because she said she's doing anything to take Sacks down. He is dirty.
But
I
even
am.
her saying that is even like it's for self-interest. She don't like sex. That's why she wants to do that.
Dude, she just bought a book and she's just making sure
She
people
is
go
not.
the right way. She
We
wants to
know she
testify.
lied.
Well,
What shall I bring up again with 2-Bit and how she tried to set up all of that?
no, but also with that being said too, they better show my man 2-Bit in jail.
Hey,
He better be in this jail with them.
hey, because that's the next thing. Is
Yeah.
2-Bit.
What
Where's 2-Bit at?
what if 2-Bit is actually in jail running with Lorenzo?
And so, oh, it would have to be that way.
Oh my
It would have
god.
to be that way.
Because Courtney Kemp ain't killing off her boo.
Yes. Oh man. But yeah, Sax is playing a man stuck in a situation he doesn't want to be in. Like it's
Yeah.
clear that again, Sax is repeatedly saying on here, Tasha is not a queen pin, but he's stuck and he has to go through with this because his higher ups are making him do it. He has no choice. I'm used to that power structure of someone from the office not wanting to do something and his higher up telling him you have no choice. And I think that's where Sax is stuck with is that they're telling him you have no choice. You're going to do this. And Sax is trying his best to fight it. But Sax is crooked. So that doesn't help either. Like he knows he's crooked. Like that. I don't mind Sax in this situation as much as I minded him throughout always chasing James. Because when he was chasing James, we all knew James was guilty. So it was like, okay, we understand that. But now you're stuck in a situation where if you had any integrity, because he had loads of integrity chasing James, because he always knew James was guilty. All of his integrity is out the window now. Like you're doing everything to save your own ass and your ass only.
Yeah.
When are we going to get Sacks that says, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore?
Never.
Tell the truth. Like you're never going to get that guy.
Never.
That's not him.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this an interesting thing between him and David and how this is going to work out.
Yeah.
Because you bring in Tasha for this queen pin charge. A lot of those witnesses are going to have to say about it. Or who the hell is it bringing up as the lead investigator did? We served a warrant on you. You were arrested. You were fired. And then a week later, you get back in his office? How is that possible? It's going to be a lot of questions. This season is going to set up a lot of questions towards Sacks. Yeah, and if they're just going to make him the scapegoat at the end, which I think they're going to end up doing.
Well, yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Obviously, next week, looking at the preview, I'm not getting much from it. Obviously, we're going to be seeing how some money is changing hands. Maybe we can.
Wasn't that Lorenzo?
Huh?
Was that Lorenzo?
In the bed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna get a glimpse of how money is just changing hands. We're gonna get a glimpse of how the business work. Maybe a little bit about Lorenzo's power in his name. And obviously we're going to get his presence, and then looks like we're going to get some Orange Is the New Black, and I'm going to call it that. But yeah, we're going to see women in the jail and how they run and operate the thing. So that show is a good show of that kind of lifestyle, which ran for a lot of good seasons. But like I think that we don't typically get that type of storytelling on shows. That's why that show did so good, because it was so new and refreshing. That this is a good opportunity again to really dive into Tasha's lifestyle in that setting, and kind of see how does it work out, because we know she's been around these people, and it's going to be interesting for sure, because we have not seen Tasha with power. We've seen her defeated. We've seen her clueless, but now we're seeing the gears turning now, and now she's getting a little.
The return of smart Tasha. That's what we're getting. We're going to get the return of smart Tasha.
I think so too.
She's making moves already, so
yep, I think so
be prepared.
I think so too. But yes, folks, definitely let us know what you thought about episode 2 tonight and see the expectations. This was a fun episode. We had a great time talking about that. We're back next week. Definitely let us know in the comments, what did you thought about this episode tonight? What are you looking forward to next episode? And as always, thank you so much for your support. And we'll catch you all next Sunday for episode 3.